Pasha Pyro, YN7. Thank you for tuning the replay. All right, so today, what I want to talk about is what I see as the one of the biggest mistakes you can make is you either could make or are making as a small business. All right. So everybody feels like they're getting paid, or everybody's goal in business is to get paid, right? Even if you're, I don't care if you're, what your categorization is, LLC, sole prop, non-profit, you still try and get paid. Like most people, like a non-profit, a lot of people think that non-profit don't make money, because it's called a non-profit, but that's not the case at all. So anyway, let's get I want to go over this today because I've had the luxury of actually working on high level projects and from grassroots small startups all the way up to worldwide corporations or global corporations. So I learned a lot, and I'd like to share that with you, some of it with you today. My purpose is actually to invest the information into the community anyway, because if we're going to reduce our codependency off of what some people may call big government or corporate America, then what we need to do is empower the small businesses, and that's going to empower the people, right? That's how we're going to free ourselves. Everything else, none of that matters, because as long as the engine all turns through there, you're going to be codependent. And there's a lot of opportunity out there, and what I see is often you can have the greatest product, you can have the greatest service, but if you don't understand what I'm going to tell you today, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and it's going to cost you greatly, even if you don't know. Let's go over it. First of all, let's look at the word pay. So the word pay means actually to please, to satisfy, to put money down, right? Okay? And then at the end it says peace. All right? So your peace. So think about all your nightmare clients for a second. Let's just right? A lot of you guys, it's 5:34. A lot of you are, you're closing down the shop, you're leaving the office, whatever it is. You're on your commute home. Sit back and just think about your day, think about your week, think about your month, your year, and just think about those nightmare clients. They probably all had one thing in common: price. You know what I'm saying? And if you didn't realize it was gonna be a nightmare, you probably had hints when in the beginning in the conversation of price. So we're gonna go over why this is, because it's really important, because what happens is if you don't understand this concept, you as a business owner and or your business itself, you're gonna work way too hard. You're gonna work way too hard for way too little. All right? And that's gonna lead to reduced quality of life. You're gonna have to put in longer hours. You're gonna have less family time. It's gonna cost you more to acquire the same goals, the same things, the same successes that you want in life, because you're gonna have to do so much more to get it, because you don't understand what we're going over today. Or you're going to go through these headaches and these nightmares from dealing with customers and clients that don't understand what we're going to go over today. And this will help you differentiate between, is this a client that I really want to do business with or not, right? Because a lot of times we're focused on, especially in the beginning, you're focused on getting some money. and you don't realize that you're really overcommitting yourself, because you don't. We're gonna go over why in a second. So you're gonna need more of the wrong clients, right? Which, instead of the right ones, which is gonna perpetuate that cycle. You're gonna, again, it's gonna further reduce your quality of life, and you're gonna be like, it's just you're grinding yourself into the ground, right? And it's actually a huge waste of resources, because you're not maximizing your ROI. And if you're going through all these resources, you don't know when your resources are gonna run out, right? People that are making stuff with plastic, if you're not making the most off of it that you can right now, and you're just, well, when the resource, what happens when they say no more plastic? Now you can't produce anything because there's no more plastic. Where do you stand, and where would you be if you had maximized your potential the whole time on each product you let go out the door? What would that difference be? All right. So yeah, many customers don't know what we're going to review today, and they tend to be focused on price instead of value, because what we're going to talk about today is cost, price, and value. And I'm going to show you how we're going on right now, how this is destroying your local community, your local small businesses. It's destroying the lack of knowledge of this topic is what's destroying your nation right now, because you can't compete with the companies and the businesses that spent $1 billion researching and learning just this topic, because they're maximizing theirs. And what the sacrifice is going to be if we don't get this right, people, the sacrifice is going to be your future generations, our future generations are going to be no better off than we are today. And they're going to be in a much worse climate, because much more power is going to be transferred to corporate America and big government, unless we, as small business owners in the community, get ours together and either stop being all emotional about shit that don't matter, right? I'm telling you the truth here, and start really putting the work in on this level. Stop being gaslighted. That's what it is. I really am on this kick because I realize I'm opening up and I'm realizing how so much is due to gaslighting, and it affects your mental health. And this is basically going to help you as your mental health as a business owner, because they got you feeling bad about yourself. They trying to guilt trip you for your price and all this stuff because they are cheap, right? All right, so let's look at this real quick. What I want you to know is this, okay? So when we look at price, as far as it goes to business, okay? We got price, we got cost, and we got value. If you have a business, a brand, these are what you need. This is what you need to know, okay? This is going to help you qualify clients, save yourself a lot of headaches, keep your stress level down, increase your quality of life. All of that is in the understanding, the comprehension of these three words. And you know what? When you master this, it's gonna be people that badmouth you. It's gonna be people that talk, don't recommend your brand. It's gonna be people that don't want to do business with you, but they're gonna try and copy what you're doing and see what it is that they can copy the name of the product, but they can't copy the integrity and the quality inside of the product. That's why they're mad at you. So let's go ahead and do this, right? Let's go through this. So price is the quantity of payment or compensation given by one party to another in return for goods and services. In other words, price is what your customer pays you. Okay? Now, cost is the value of money that has been used up to produce something. So cost is actually what it costs you to make it. Okay? And then price is what you sell it for. And then you capture and keep the difference. That's your profit. All right? Then value is a measure of the benefit that can be gained from either a good service or provider of the good or service. Okay, so cost is what it costs you to make it. Price is what you expect the client to pay for it, or what the client actually pays for it, or customer. And value is what it's worth to them. Okay? So what happens is a lot of times you're dealing with people that, one, they don't know their own value. All right? And because they don't know their own value, they can't quantify the price. So all they know is, let me get the cheapest possible. Oh, you're too expensive. Well, what are you trying to actually do? Because if you have a value of this, you can't expect to get that value for this price. You see what I'm saying? It's a confusion there. Now, what happens is there's people that's preying on people that don't know this. And it's unfortunate, and it really irritates me. It really irritates me because they're it's this quote here from Simon Sinek. I always hang on to this. Anybody that know me know we talk about this. Poor leadership manipulates the people to grow the money. You see what I'm saying? See, they're the ones. Poor leadership comes to you and says, you charging what? Oh my God, why you charge so much? They're trying to manipulate you to grow the $5 they're gonna save, the 10% they're gonna save, the whatever it is they to grow the money. They want to manipulate you. They gaslighting you. Well, so and so doesn't charge that. You shouldn't charge that. Shut the fuck up, right? Great leadership manipulates the money to grow the people. And what that translates into is, okay, wow, if I do this, it's going to actually put us here. And then all people on my team is going to have a much better quality of life because we're going to be up here instead of being down here talking about we saved $25 or we saved $2,000. You save $2,000, but now you down here got to do 10 times as much work. Because you don't know how to quantify value, or your customers don't know how to quantify value or price from value. All right? So, like we were just saying, many customers focus on the price instead of the value, and it winds up costing them more in the long run anyway. You know what I mean? You go, I send someone an invoice for $2,000 or $3,000 for a logo, and they like so and so can do it for $35. Well, go ahead on Fiverr, right, and get you a $5 logo, because guess what? 6 months from now, you're gonna realize you need a new logo, or you're gonna wonder why you're working so hard, right, and still not seeing the success you want. It's because you got a poorly designed logo. It's not designed for you. It's just something someone threw together and you said, "Oh, I like that." That's the problem with emotions. See, you got an emotional attachment, or they got an emotional attachment to the price. I don't want to pay that much. You're starting a business. Let's say you're starting your business. You want a logo, and you say, "Oh my God, $2,000. I don't want to pay that much for a logo." Oh my God, Pepsi paid $1.2 million for their logo. $1.2 million. Fuck you mean you don't want to pay $2,000 or $3,000 for? So how much is your business worth to you? You know what I mean? When you start your business or your brand, how much do you want it to bring into you? You want it to make you $400 a year? Then go spend $5 on a logo. Because then it matches. oh man, hopefully I'm trying to make like 6 figures a year. I'm trying, maybe we work our way up, we get 500,000, half a million. All right. So you want to make that much, you should be paying like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 at least for your logo. A real business spends about 7 to 8% of what it makes a year on marketing. So that means if you're looking to do $100K a year, you should at least, this is on marketing. That's aside from startup costs. That's aside from getting your logo. That's aside from getting your first prints and design and all this stuff done. But just annual marketing, if you're doing $100K a year, you should be looking to spend $7,000 to $10,000 a year on just marketing. But you don't know that. So when someone tells you, hey, $3K for a logo, you want to go and get the $5 joint, and that's okay because you're being cheap, because you're focused on price and not value. Your poor leadership is wanting to manipulate the people to grow the money. So you're gonna say, oh no, we're gonna substitute this and get this person. They do it for $25, $30, and then you got a $25, $30 logo that doesn't work for you. You're working for the logo. It adds no value to you. It's just something you got emotionally attached to how it looked. But there's no function in its form. Poorly designed. Poor leadership manipulates the people to grow the money. Great leadership manipulates the money to grow the people. Another example I could give you is the classic car example. Oh my, I don't want a Benz because it's one, it's too expensive, and two, it's too much to maintain. Well, it depends on, that statement could be true or not, but it's based on perspective. It's based on the perspective of what's valuable to you. What do you value as being behind the wheel, or if you're the passenger or whatever, of that automobile? Now, if you value being able to do 120 miles an hour everywhere you go, and zip, 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 and weave through traffic, and be able to bust a donut and keep going, and then you're gonna see the value of a machine designed to meet and exceed your expected performance levels. Now, if you take the same driver that values that enjoys that type of behind the wheel experience, and you put them in the inferior product, it's gonna break more often. So again, you focus on price. You're like, yeah, I got this, it was cheaper. And then you're in the shop with it you're in shop with it 3 times as much. So it doesn't matter that the Mercedes costs twice as much, because one is only gonna break down half as much normally on the normal conditions, and then this one you're tearing up, tripling the breakdowns, because the way you drive is for a performance vehicle, when you actually we're focused on price instead of valuing your experience, your user experience. So you wind up spending more because now you tear that car up, you try to keep fixing it, and you keep tearing it up. So you gotta then, after all that maintenance, go and get another car. So you wind up spending twice as much as it would have if you got the Mercedes to begin with. Why? Because you're focused on price instead of what you actually value. This is the same problem with the relationship between small businesses and small business owners and customers in the community under poor leadership. I'm gonna just keep it real with you, because when we talking business, we talking business. It ain't no emotions. You know what I mean? That's another thing that be tripping me out. I don't need to like you. I need you to have the best fucking product that I'm looking for. Especially if it's in my supply chain, because my supply chain ends with my customer. So now you got people that want to. Here's the gaslighting effect. Oh my God, you shouldn't talk to people like that because you're too. Man, look, this is business, people. We want to go. What? You know what I'm saying? Because the people that want you to be friends, they not necessarily gonna be the ones that one is gonna value you. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, so let's keep it moving. So when the whole community thinks like this, right? It leads to the group, that whole community having inferior products, inferior services, inferior tools, and cheapens the overall value of what can be produced by them as a collective. So your whole community gross domestic product is stunted. It's growth. It's got a glass ceiling on it. It's retarded. It's prevented. It's being held back by poor leadership. And then they talking smack about, shit about you because you don't want to be a part of poor leadership because you actually are trying to empower the people, and they don't understand that their efforts, although they may have saved $5 or $10 or 10 or 15%, that's counterproductive to what they actually are doing it for, whether they realize it or not. And then people got the nerve to tell you, I'm just doing business. Yeah, you're just doing business. It's poor ass business is what it is. Because it's poor ass leadership. Now we got to take our time and grow shit right. Why? Because our future generations depend on this shit being done right by us right now. Or else, what are you leaving behind for them? Besides captivity. And that goes for everybody. I don't care what you think you look like or who you think you are. It really irritates me. And then what happens is it forces the people that the community needs don't want to work with them because they're more seduced by the poor leadership. And then they wonder why, again, the community is left with inferior products, inferior services. It looks good when you don't know no better. But like I said, when the next generations are trapped in captivity, this is going to be why. Because you were looking at everything that glitters thinking it was gold. That's gold. So, the poor leadership, like we said, leaving the community with inferior products, inferior services, inferior tools to offer each other, this is what happens. It actually starves the entire community over time as there will be less and less money circulating. Because guess what? Once somebody says, oh, it was $100, you can get it for $90 over here. Again, you're not getting the same value. You're not getting the same quality. All right, you already know that in the background. So then what happens? Somebody's doing it for 90. Now somebody else gonna come along and say, well, I can do it for 80. Right? The quality tanking. Everything's going downhill. I can do it for 75. I got 60 over here. That's how we get to Fiverr, where you get $5 logos. The fuck is a $5 logo? Right? Now what the fuck profit is there in $5? So how is that person that the community wants to continue to gaslight until everybody's doing everything for $5? How are they supposed to feed their family? And if they only making $5, how are they supposed to come back and shop with you with what you got going on? Right, they can't. You see what I'm saying? Does it make sense now? Let's review it because I got my notes right here. I'll review my notes for you, okay? Because what they do is they want to paint you as the bad guy because you know this shit, and you've been trying to help them. You see what I'm saying? Or they see the value in you. They see what you're doing, so they try to copy the product, the output, but they don't have any understanding of the ingredients, what goes into it, and that just corrupts the community and does the same thing anyway because it's fucking poor leadership and they're getting piss poor products and services. Why? Because they want to try and act like they don't know you, copy what you're doing, and then try to do it for a lower, cheaper rate and say they did the same thing. You fucking didn't do the same thing. All right? So when a whole community thinks like this, it leads to that group of people having inferior products, inferior services, inferior tools, etc., inferior relationships. You can't ask anybody that I've ever got anything from. You can't tell, you cannot ask them and they tell you I didn't give them more than what they asked me for. You could call it a tip, you can call it what, I call it an investment. Because for me to get the service I want from you, that's just me getting what I'm paying you for. Now I care about you personally. So let me give you something on top of that to help you grow. You can't ask nobody because I would rather not do business until I can afford it. That's the thing. People trying to do stuff before they can actually afford it and it costs them more. If I'm looking at, I'm ready to do possibly spend $50,000 with you. I don't mind spending $2,000 to come see if I actually like what you offering or not. Like I'm ready to spend $50K. What's $2,000 to see? Make sure it's the right decision. Look, when a whole community thinks like this, as far as not using this properly, it leads to that group having inferior products, inferior services, inferior tools, which cheapens the overall value of that community's gross domestic product. That's how I'm saying it. Don't tell me to choose some different words. Learn what the words mean, because if we're going to compete with big corporate America, we need to be able to articulate this shit. If you want your future generations to be free, you need to learn how to articulate this shit. This, in turn, right, starves the entire community, as there will be less and less what you call money, I call it currency, circulating. Another example, many people today call themselves a photographer. And when you look at all they produce is a sharp picture. See, I did photography for real for 13 years or so. I know the creative element, the creative intangibles of producing photography. It's more than just a picture sharp. But look, here we go. Because people don't know the value, they just worry about the price. They get a sharp picture and say, oh, wow, that's a great photographer. And he only charges, or she only charges $100. So now when you say, hey, look, I can do this for you, it's $5,000. They're like, oh my God, so-and-so only charged $100. All you get is a sharp picture, but you don't know no better. The fucking camera autofocuses by itself. What the fuck? If all you wanted was a sharp picture, I mean, set your fucking phone up, because right now your cell phone has the same technology in it that 10 years ago, me and my companies, my associates, not when I say company, I mean people, associate, would have paid $5,000 for just the camera body for you. It comes in your cell phone now. So you could set that shit up and put the timer on it and take the same fucking picture, because it autofocuses too. All right. Then, so the real photographer has to, so now what happens, right? Now, if you're the true photographer that has the creative elements, the market is oversaturated now because the cost of cameras, the technology in cameras has become so cheap that now everybody can get one and think they're a photographer. And this ain't a disservice to the people that's just starting out in photography. It's a wake up call for the people that maybe have a camera, call themselves a photographer, and at the end of the day, all they're doing is telling you stand there and to take a picture and it's sharp. I mean, if that's all you're doing, then everybody's a photographer, for real. All right? So, because you can see all them pictures from the club, you can see all them pictures from wherever everybody at, and they done gave their friend their phone, and they got a sharp picture too. If that's all it takes nowadays, I see why everybody feels like they're a photographer. But it's all like that because the focus on price instead of value. At the end of the day, it doesn't cost a photographer anything. I mean, if you say I already got my camera, right? I mean, I know if you write proposals, you're supposed to bill for the camera, bill for the usage, bill for the person using the camera. I know that part, but what I'm saying is this. Aside from that, as far as you got, let's say the camera already, what does it cost you to take a picture? You charge your battery. It's a digital camera, so you got a SD card. You might have some little gas to get to wherever they're going. But let's say you don't have to go nowhere. What does it cost? It don't cost you nothing. So the value is in the intellectual property. That's the new gold mine. The value is in the intangibles. But when you worry about price, you don't get none of that. You just get a sharp picture. Your 2-year-old could have took the same. All right, look. So now the true photographer, because the cameras are all cheap now, the group of people that have the wrong mindset under poor leadership, your perceived value is decreased because of focus on price instead of value. So now you got an influx of customers coming with you. So, oh my God, you trying to, well, go over there to so and so and get your picture taken there. And then you're proud of the picture because you don't know nothing more than the price. If you had spent the real money and got it done by someone real, experienced, not someone not saying other people are fake, just someone really experienced, you would have got a higher value product, and you would have been like, oh my God, this is amazing. I put it up and all this stuff started happening, and that you won't get from just the saturated, regular, sharp picture. I mean, that's all you got. So what else I got on here to talk about today? One more thing. So anyway, in closing, right, we're going to wrap this up. So in closing, this is why it's important to only work with the right partner or the right people and have the right clients. Because everything else is fucking destroying our community. And it's only going to lead to our perpetual captivity, in situations that I know most of y'all started your journey trying to free yourself from. Pasha Pyro, YNet7, thank you for tuning. The replay.